Going into this summit, there was a little anxiety about how the two would get on, so far as Japan and the US have had some disagreements over trade. There's some anxiety over defense spending. But in the end, the two hit it off remarkably well. President Trump received a very warm welcome in Japan. Not long after he got off Air Force One, he was whisked to the Imperial Palace to see the Japanese Emperor for a 30-minute audience, a chance for them to rekindle their friendship. Today, he had a summit with Sanae Takaichi, Japan's new Prime Minister and Japan's first female Prime Minister. There's some strains recently over trade, and Trump's insistence that allies such as Japan and others spend more on defense. But in the end, the two leaders got on extremely warmly. Trump praised Takaichi to the high heavens, frankly. He told her that she was going to be one of the greatest of all time prime ministers.
Anytime you have any question, any doubt, anything you want, any favors you need, anything I can do to help Japan, we will be there. We are an ally at the strongest level.
The main thrust of what they discussed was trade and security. Trump complimented Takaichi on her commitment to increasing Japanese defense spending. Takaichi is something of a security hawk, a bit like her mentor Shinzo Abe, and one of the first things she said that she would do when she became Prime Minister last week was to increase defense spending. She wants to accelerate a target to get it up to 2% of GDP by the end of this fiscal year. The Japanese have made big orders for US weapons. Trump talked a lot about that. Missiles in particular for the F-35 that Japan owns.
This woman is a winner, so
The two leaders also visited the USS George Washington, a US aircraft carrier that's stationed in Japan and is one of its most foremost weapons in the Pacific. Takaichi, in a rare honor, was able to give remarks to the troops and the sailors.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The Japanese Prime Minister was cheered very loudly by the sailors and troops on board the Washington when she gave her remarks, talking about Japan's eagerness to boost military spending and play a bigger role in the defense of the Pacific.
United States.
The two leaders also signed a pledge that promised to usher in a golden age of relations between the US and Japan. That was mostly focused on the trade deal that the two countries had previously agreed, and that calls for Japan to invest $550 billion in the US. Now, there has been some uncertainty and some disagreement about exactly how that money would be spent. We got a little bit more clarity on that today. The Ministry of Finance has published a list of projects that the US and Japan are looking at, things like artificial intelligence, infrastructure, energy, and the document also included a bunch of Japanese and US companies that are interested in taking part in these various projects. So a little bit of progress on what had been a bit of a sticking point.
Well, I want to thank you very much, and I want to congratulate you. As you know, Shinzo Abe was a great friend of mine.
It seems that Japan is almost trying to recreate, if you like, this close relationship that Trump had with the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He was a great friend of Donald Trump's. He was also a political mentor to Takaichi. Takaichi presented Trump with a putter that was owned by Abe. They both talked a lot about him and how fondly they remember him, and it seems so far that Trump is pretty responsive to this, and that he does see in Takaichi something of a continuation of many of the things that he admired about Abe.
I have such respect for Japan and the country, and now I have a really great respect for the new and incredible Prime Minister. And I have to say this, the first female Prime Minister in the history of Japan, Madam Prime Minister.